All right, so here is an A Mixolydian scale. I'm going to give you two different positionings or different fingerings for them, and here you go. So starting with the open A string, we got frets 0, 2, and 4 that you play with fingers 1 and 3. Moving on to the fourth string, you got frets 0, 2, and 4 once again. Moving on to the G string, you got frets 0, 2, and 4 once again. Moving on to the B string, you got frets 2, 3, and 5 that you play with fingers 1, 2, and 4. And moving on to the high E string, you got the same thing, frets 2, 3, and 5. So all together, this scale is going to sound like this. This is A Mixolydian once again. So that's A Mixolydian ascending, and here's the same thing descending. I really like this fingering of the scale because it is so symmetrical. You know, on the first three strings, you got frets 0, 2, and 4 3 times in a row. And then on the next two strings, those are symmetrical as well. You got frets 2, 3, and 5. I really like that for sequencing ideas. But sometimes you don't always, you can't always play those notes. So it's best to, learn another fingering of it, another common fingering of it that's very, very useful in different situations. So here is an A Mixolydian scale, just with a different fingering. Same notes, but different fingering. So it starts off being the same. On the A string, you got frets 0, 2, and 4. On the D string, you have the same thing, frets 0, 2, and 4. And then on the G string, here's where things get a little wacky. You got frets 0 and 2. And then on the B string, you got frets 0, 2, and 3. And then on the high E string, you got frets 0, 2, 3. And then if you want to include the high A note, it's the 5th fret. So it's all the same notes, just a slightly different fingering that is very useful for other things that the other one isn't useful for. So here's the entire A Mixolydian using this fingering. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about sequencing this scale in groups of 4 notes. So the very first scale, the fingering that I gave you at first, is really easier to use this fingering for this kind of an idea. So here it is. Here's the first group of notes. You're going to play A, B, C sharp, and D is your first group. The next group starts with B. You're going to play B, C sharp, D, and E. The next group starts with C sharp, and you just keep on going up the scale. The next group starts with D. The next group starts with E. The next group starts with F sharp. The next group starts with G. Next group starts with A. Next group starts with B. Next group starts with C sharp. Next group starts with D. And then the last group starts with E here. So you want to take some time to really study those groups of 4. All we're doing really is it's sort of a numbers game. Just think of each note as as a number, and here's the order. Here's kind of the group. The first is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're going 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. It's sort of a numbers game, but with notes. So you want to get comfortable with each grouping of 4, and then see if you can play all of them one right after another without stopping between the groups. So here's how it goes. So that is that. Now let's talk about the right hand for a minute. I feel like the best way to learn how to play this and make everything very rhythmic is to apply an alternate picking technique, really strict at first. Just go strictly down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, over and over again. So I'm going to play those same notes. You're not going to be able to see my left hand so much, but here's my right hand using strictly alternate picking. So whenever you get that down, then you can start trying to get a little faster at it. You know, set yourself to a speed on the metronome that's comfortable at first to make sure that you're steady, and then start inching up that the speed a little bit on the metronome. So that is a sequencing idea for a Mixolydian that you can use. Also, you want to take that same grouping of 4 note segments and be able to do it in a descending order as well. So here is that idea, just in reverse. All right, so hopefully that was helpful to give you some sort of a, some foundation, and that you can like really get really good at this A Mixolydian scale. And good luck. Thanks. Hopefully that was helpful.